is an opportunity for council to hear from select applicants to the city council nominated boards and commissions. Each candidate present tonight or online will have 3 minutes to present their qualifications and reasons for applying. And before we begin, I would like to thank all the applicants and community members who took the time to apply to serve on a board or commission this year. Tonight, we will hear applicant statements from the following boards and commissions: the Budget Committee, Civilian Review Board, Human Rights Commission, Sustainability Commission, and Toxics Board. Now, council is not scheduled to make appointments until June 10, 2024. Staff, can you please announce our first two speakers?
Thank you, Councilor. If you are providing your statement to council via Zoom this evening, please take this time to ensure that your screen name in Zoom matches the first and last name on your application. We will announce two speakers' names at a time. If you are providing your statement via Zoom, when it is your turn, we will announce your name and allow you to speak. If you are announced as the next speaker and physically in the room, please move to the seat in the front row designated for the next speaker. When it is your turn, you may come to the podium. You will have 3 minutes to speak. If you are watching the meeting, the timer should be visible. A yellow light will come on when you have 15 seconds to complete your comments. The red light indicates the end of the 3 minutes. Your microphone will be muted at the 3-minute mark. Our first speaker this evening is David Burke, followed by Brittany DeLcio.
Good evening, Mayor Vinis and City Councilors. My name is David Burke, and I'm here today to express my strong interest in serving as a member of the Budget Committee. I moved to Eugene at the start of 2023. However, I've been visiting family here multiple times each year for more than 20 years, and from this have developed a deep respect and appreciation for Eugene. I moved to Eugene because this is where I wanted to live and pursue my career, and also because our mother is moving here and it's the right time to live near and care for one another. I'm applying for this position due to my longstanding interest in being an active in supporting the local community, particularly those with specific needs and often underrepresented. Past activities include serving as a neighborhood leader, which I'll touch on shortly, assisting youth as a Boys Club mentor, and assisting low-income homeowners as a home improvement volunteer. I'm interested in serving on the Budget Committee due to a range of qualifications enabling me to contribute significant value to the budget process and the responsibilities that come with representing the community to ensure the budget supports the needs of the greater community and its development is inclusive, equitable, and sustainable. For background and qualifications, I'll start with my education. Throughout life, I've been comfortable working with numbers and problem solving, and this was supported with my bachelor's degree in geophysics. I then focused on finance with a master's in finance from the University of Pennsylvania, with much of my learning involving financial data, including the studying of budgets and financial statements. In between these degrees, my first job was working as an associate financial advisor for Sanford C. Bernstein in New York City, then now a top financial research firm. After my master's degree, I pursued a long career in information technology with increasing roles in marketing and sales, including the managing of departmental, quarterly, and annual budgets. For qualifications, my experience with the budget process and tools is complemented by my experience with community needs in the city services addressing those needs. A good part of this came from my serving as president of my San Francisco Neighborhood Association from 2014 to 2022. Over these years, I represented our neighborhood in collaborating with neighbors and city representatives on a number of matters, including public safety, safe streets, lighting, sewers, and caring for our neighborhood park, the 4th largest in San Francisco. When working on these matters, it was important to understand the city departmental operating and capital budgets in the financing of those budgets. Many of these activities involve recognizing the needs of underrepresented community members and collaborating with city organizations and nonprofits to support those needs. I'll end on that.
Thank you, David. Your time is concluded. Our next speaker is Brittany. As a note, Brittany will be speaking this round for budget, and she also will be speaking a little later for Civilian Review Board. After Brittany is Morgan Mann.
Mayor Venus and City Council members, I appreciate the opportunity to interview for the Budget Committee. My name is Brittany DeLiso, and I've lived in Eugene for 17 years. My husband and I met at what is now Bushnell University, and we both fell in love with Eugene and decided to stay. Even when all of our fellow graduates moved on, we knew that Eugene was here and the place for us. We're raising our 2 children here in the 4J School District, and we're deeply committed to this community. I currently work with Wayne County Health and Human Services in the Behavioral Health Division as a behavioral health project manager, supporting the development of our crisis service expansion, specifically the Crisis Stabilization Center that's in development is the project that I'm primarily supporting. Additionally, I volunteer as a member of the Trauma Healing Project, serve as a trauma-informed trainer for our community, and involved multiple times throughout the week with my local faith community and occasionally as a kids sports coach for one of my kiddos when no one else will volunteer. In my current role with Wayne County as project manager, the primary project I oversee, as I said, is the development of a 24/7 behavioral health crisis stabilization center. This project requires navigating multiple funding sources, including grant applications, grant expenditure reporting, fundraising, and strategy methods to close funding gaps. While I work alongside a team of very smart people who are excellent at crunching the numbers and grant writing, I do have visibility into how the funding development informs the rest of the project, including the capital timeline, community engagement, and operational planning. It's also given me ample practice in creative brainstorming for how to overcome funding gaps. We've had a consistent lack of funding allocated to the behavioral health system throughout our state, and we're really on the front lines of understanding how to navigate that. While this professional experience doesn't translate into me being an accounting whiz or a budget expert, it does allow me exposure to the nuance of funding public sector work that involves taxpayer dollars. More than this experience, I'm interested in bringing citizen-level perspective to the Budget Committee as somebody who deeply is invested and hopeful for the well-being and sustainability of the city of Eugene and the community members that comprise it. I would like to participate on the Budget Committee in order to highlight considerations for residents who have historically been marginalized, including those who identify as having an untreated or undertreated behavioral health condition. I would like to serve my neighbors and community partners by investing time, thought, and care into the future sustainability of our city, to promote a space that honors the unique needs of each people group and subpopulation that resides here. Thank you.
Thank you, Brittany. Our next speaker this evening is Morgan Mann, followed by Genevieve Shack.
Good afternoon, City Council. My name is Morgan Mann, and I'm here to express my interest in being a member of the Budget Committee. I volunteered for this role because I feel my background, experience, and community interests add value to the committee and to our community as a whole. I've lived in Eugene since 2020 with my wife and 16-year-old daughter. We greatly appreciate all the city has to offer and the surrounding environment, along with the community members here in the city. I have a 25-year relationship with the city because my wife was born and raised here, and we visit her parents regularly. It's exciting to see how the city has evolved over those years. I'm currently an executive at Cisco Systems, a large Fortune 100 information technology company. My professional focus over the last 15 years has been in the cybersecurity domain. In that domain, I've worked extensively in business operations, finance, and strategy. Until recently, I was the Chief Operating Officer of Cisco's Security Business Group, where I was responsible for a $1 billion operating budget in a $4 billion revenue business. This included strategic planning, budgeting, resource prioritization, portfolio management, and acquisitions. In addition to my work at Cisco, I'm a venture partner of the Oregon Venture Fund. This fund invests in Oregon-based startup companies to unleash the region's talent and capital. It's a great way to bring more high-paying jobs to Oregon and improve our community. Finally, I've served for close to 30 years in the active and reserve components of the United States Marine Corps. I retired in 2019 as a colonel, having an amazing opportunity to serve our country and work alongside some of the best young men and women this country has to offer. I volunteered for this committee because I feel my background can add value. I believe in service and the need to contribute as a citizen to one's community, and I feel this is a great way for me to accomplish this. I envision 3 areas where I can contribute. Number one, help recommend an effective balance of public funding for public safety, social services, and public works, while not overburdening the community with taxes. Number two, recommend a budget that supports economic growth, that expands the tax base to ensure we have future revenues to provide the services worthy of this city being an amazing place to live and raise a family. Number three, contribute to the long-range infrastructure plan to ensure the city has a roadmap for being a competitive place for early in career individuals and families to get a job, live affordably, and raise a family. In conclusion, I hope to serve our community and contribute to keeping Eugene a great place to live, work, and play. Members of the City Council, thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Morgan. Our next speaker this evening is Genevieve Shack, followed by Wendy Simmons. Genevieve, go ahead when you're ready.
Hello, my name is Genevieve Shack, and I would like to begin by offering my sincere thanks to the City Council for the invitation and to Natalie and the team for making arrangements for me to attend remotely. I'm honored to Zoom before you here today and to discuss my qualifications as a candidate for the city's budget committee. I've lived in Eugene for 21 years, and I graduated in 2017 from U of O with a graduate degree in public administration and nonprofit management, having majored in both mathematics and fine arts during my undergraduate. What might seem like disparate interests to some, to me have always seemed to simply be a way to seek a balanced worldview, the analytical and the creative, informing each other and illuminating the path forward. Throughout my career, I've dedicated myself to strengthening our community, whether working as a dispatcher for wildland firefighters or as a teacher at a small alternative high school. Community is the key. I currently serve as the executive director of Willamette Farm and Food Coalition, a local nonprofit serving in support of the local food system. I've demonstrated my ability to manage budgets effectively and secured almost $2 million in grant funding over the last 2 years, and collaborate with diverse stakeholders to achieve common goals to improve health and economic outcomes across our county. Additionally, in my role as the co-owner of the Whitaker Community Market, we are able to support over 130 small businesses each summer season, providing free activities and music in the park, and support community development while activating Scobart Gardens, a much maligned public park in our city. I also serve as a member of the Whitaker Community Council's Disaster Resilience Committee and the Eugene Rotary Club. I am dedicated to service. I have applied to be a member of the Budget Committee because I am deeply committed to ensuring the responsible allocation of resources to meet the needs of our city through rigorous review and planning processes, while understanding that the budget must be a living document in order to be effective. While in service to the committee, my goal would be to see a balanced and equitable budget come to pass. While Eugene is famous for many wonderful things, I'm saddened to find that we make the front page of the census for the largest gap in life expectancy between two neighboring zip codes of anywhere in the United States. We must be able to review our financial decisions while keeping all of our neighbors' well-being in mind. And that is what I hope to bring to the Budget Committee. I believe that sound fiscal management is essential for promoting economic growth, supporting services, addressing the pressing challenges that face our city, but also making the most of the opportunities we are presented with as well. By serving on the committee, I hope to bring my expertise and passion for community development to the table and to contribute to an informed, transparent decision-making process. Thank you all so much for having me.
Thank you, Genevieve. Our next speaker is Wendy Simmons, followed by Sandy Weintraub.
Good evening, Mayor Venus and City Council members. I am Wendy Simmons, and I would like to become a member of the Budget Committee. After getting a bachelor's degree in political science at UC Irvine, I moved to Eugene to get a master's degree in fitness management at the University of Oregon. While my mother kept asking me when I was going to return home, I fell in love with this city, and 35 years later, here I still happily reside. I'm currently a faculty member at Lane Community College and have been for 26 years. I've served on several committees at Lane as an active member, such as on the Wellness Advisory Committee, Safety Committee, and Sustainability Committee. I currently serve as the Lane Community College Association Membership Chair, Action Team Co-Chair, and on the Executive Council as the Vice President at Large. I also currently serve on the OEA, the Oregon Education Association Community College Council, as the OEA PAC Board Representative. Last June, I graduated from the Oregon Labor Candidate School, and in the past, I've served on the OEA Choice Trust Board, which awards grants and professional development for employee wellness programs for Oregon public K-12 districts, education service districts, and community colleges. In various roles I've held at the college as the employee wellness coordinator and fitness and lifestyle specialist coordinator, I oversaw an annual budget for these programs and received budget recommendations from advisory committees so we could allocate funding to where the needs were. Serving on the LCC Executive Council, I'm one of 8 who oversees and approves the annual budget. Also recently appointed to the LCC Bond Oversight Committee, responsible for overseeing $120 million for capital construction. When I was a board member for the OEA Choice Trust, we managed a budget of about $3 million, as well as the trust's entire assets, which were approximately $70 million. I'm interested in serving on this committee for several reasons. I care deeply about our city and want to see it continue to thrive and improve for all its citizens. Appreciating the support and hard work of my union, I decided to give back by taking on leadership roles. I'm now in a place where I can also give back to our wonderful city. I became an instructor at a public institution because I get to continually teach and learn. I know that financials are extremely important to getting things done, and I see serving on the budget committee as an opportunity to contribute my expertise, serve the community, and grow and learn more about city processes and infrastructure. Serving on this committee, I would also work to help ensure that the city's money is allocated in accordance with community needs and priorities. A budget is a statement of values, and then also used responsibly, effectively, and for what it's intended to be used for. Finally, I really enjoy building relationships. I pride myself on having high integrity, being dependable and fair, able to hear others' perspectives, and work well with others. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Wendy. Our next speaker this evening is Sandy Weintraub, followed by Brittany DeLisio.
Good evening, councilors and Mayor Vinnis. My name is Sandy Weintraub, and I'm interested in service on the City of Eugene Budget Committee. I've lived in Eugene for 10 years with my wife and now 2 kids who are 4 and 6. We love living in this community, and I'm always looking for ways to help serve for the betterment of Eugene. I'm a graduate at the University of Oregon School of Law and have served in leadership roles within UO, as well as in Eugene's Jewish community, where I currently serve in the Jewish Community Relations Council and was on the board of the Jewish Federation of Lane County, where I served as president. Prior to my time in Eugene, I served in the Social Services Commission in the city of Santa Monica, California. I work at the University of Oregon, where I serve as the Senate Secretary and Advisor to the President as a part of the President's Office. In this role, I help to coordinate shared governance at the university and serve as both advisor to and liaison between senior UO leadership and leaders of the faculty and staff government that compose the UO Senate. I also help to manage the policy process at UO. Previously, I served as the director of the Oregon Law Commission, a program that works in coordination with the state legislature, where experts converge together to make state laws work better for the citizens of the state. I love this work because it requires me to look at the big picture of the institution and help guide leaders to collaborate, listen to each other, and hopefully make crucial decisions that serve the best interests of the multitude of communities that make up the University of Oregon. As with UO, the budget is the lifeblood of city government, and the inherent limitations of the resources that are available to the city are the greatest challenge of any governing body. I have no doubt that all of you as leaders have imagined what your role would look like with unlimited or even adequate resources at your disposal. But of course, that isn't the reality. Creating and managing a budget is a series of difficult choices. And while those decisions aren't zero sum, it certainly doesn't feel that way to those who aren't appropriated the funds that they so desperately need. My interest in joining the budget committee is bringing my institutional perspective and my strong belief that both transparency and empathetic honesty are essential when mapping out the priorities and how the city will use this money. I don't come here with a specific cause or set of issues that I seek to advocate for. Rather, I want to be a part of the process to ask good questions, think big picture, long-term, and most of all, help ensure that the city is communicating with the public in a manner that breeds trust in the budgeting process. I believe it is okay to admit how hard these decisions are and acknowledge that there is significantly more need than there are funds available. Not everyone will be happy, but they can still believe that the process is well done. These decisions are not going to be perfect, but if the public feels that those making those decisions are being transparent and making the decisions they believe will benefit the greater good, they will benefit the city in the long run. I believe that my experience with complex public institutions and my passion for helping to make Eugene the best place possible would be a great fit on this committee, and I would be honored to serve. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandy. Our next speaker, and this begins the Civilian Review Board portion, is Brittany Delicio, followed by Amelia Folks.
Won't make you all sit through my introduction again, and I'll just get right to it. I'm trained as a mental health professional and therapist and have worked in community mental health, primarily supporting individuals who are members of the Oregon Health Plan for the past 10 years. Through my work, I have had a front row seat to the intersection between the criminal justice system and the mental health system, as you heard me talk about a bit before, which is ripe with opportunities for improvement. As my career has transitioned from providing direct care as a therapist to working as a behavioral health care system strategist and project manager, I've had the chance to lean in and support increased coordination and collaboration of these systems to better serve the individuals that are often caught in between them. I've convened numerous committees and work groups with healthcare professionals, law enforcement officers, local court representatives, individuals with lived experience, all at the table to reach a common goal of improved care for our community members. It's this experience that has prompted my interest in the Civilian Review Board, as I have developed a passion for systemic work and a unique interest in helping our local criminal justice system become a better partner with healthcare providers as well as other systems in proximity. I would like to serve on this board to provide a mental health perspective and to help ensure that those involved on both sides of the criminal justice systems are providing informed, humane, and consistent engagement that aligns with the broader systems throughout our community.
Thank you, Brittany. Our next speaker this evening is Amelia Folks. Amelia, go ahead when you're ready.
Good evening, all, Mayor Venice and esteemed council members. I appreciate the time tonight and especially appreciate the accommodation of being able to do this virtually. So my name is Amelia Folks, and I have been in Eugene for 15 wonderful years, most recently, and previously as a kiddo, I was here for a couple years on and off. I have a bachelor's of science in psychology through the University of Oregon. And with that, learned a lot about the community as a whole, especially working in social services. So I've been working for the state of Oregon for the last 10 years. The majority of the beginning of that career, I worked as a family coach. Family coaches work with individuals and Oregonians within the community who are receiving cash aid assistance or temporary assistance for needy families. With these families, we'd work on life goals, anything and everything to help their families succeed to become self-sufficient. And so a lot of the work done was collaborating and working on wraparound services for families. So working with child welfare, if there were some barriers there, working with drug and alcohol, mental health counselors, really being a supportive piece of their story to help get them where they wanted to be in life. Most recently, I am now currently working with the Oregon Eligibility Program, which is through the Oregon Department of Human Services. I work in the hearings unit. And so I've really gotten to learn a lot about our Oregon administrative rules and how they apply policy and those types of things to the families that we serve and the programs that we offer. With that, it has been an absolute joy and challenge learning our policies as they are complex at times and really being able to pass that along to Oregonians that we serve and helping explain those complex policies and navigating our systems. And with that, I've really found a love for law and fairness and justice that comes with it. And so a big piece of why I want to be a part of the Citizen Review Board is really just learning more about our local police department, our community as a whole and how things work, and just a strong desire to learn more. I'm walking in with this, with having a really strong lens on equity, fairness, and above all, compassion. So understanding that issues may come up. They're usually complex, but if you address them with compassion and understanding and an open mind, looking at the facts and those types of things, resolution can come. So that is a little bit about me. Again, I appreciate all your help
Thank you, Amelia. Your time is concluded. Our next speaker this evening begins the Human Rights Commission interview portion, and that is Martha Baldwin, followed by John Bradley.
Good evening. My name is Martha Baldwin, and I am interested in serving on the Human Rights Commission. My husband, 3 sons, and I moved here almost 2 years ago from the Midwest, hence the accent you'll hear while I'm speaking tonight. Since moving here, I have had the opportunity to work for the City of Eugene in their Community Development Division from March 2022 through June 2023. And most recently, I was given the opportunity to work for Sponsors, Inc. For those of you unfamiliar with Sponsors, we are a nationally renowned not-for-profit that works with the formerly incarcerated in order to help them successfully re-enter the community. In addition, I have volunteered over the last 2 winters with Egan Warming Center. I've also volunteered with Safe Families for Children Lane County, Santa Clara Church, and Junior League of Eugene. My work experience immediately prior to moving to Eugene was at Pillars, Inc., a not-for-profit that serves the unhoused through street outreach, shelter, case management, supportive services, and affordable housing. In addition, I have served on the very first Appleton Police Chiefs Community Advisory Board. This group was founded by the police department in response to George Floyd's murder and was a way to engage a diverse group of community members to become more knowledgeable about the policies and procedures of our local police department, as well as offer suggestions about how the police department could create more positive interactions within the community, especially with the Black, Indigenous, and people of color communities. I share all of this with you to show that I am deeply passionate about serving the community I live in. Since becoming a Eugenian 21 months ago, I have quickly and strategically become involved in serving my new neighbors, which I consider to be the greater Eugene community. I hope this also shows you my commitment to social equity, civil rights, and human rights. I continue to learn about all of these issues through my own personal development by reading books, watching documentaries, attending seminars, experiencing cultural events, and serving the community. I have also served in a leadership capacity while at the city and at Sponsors in helping bring professional development around equity, accessibility, and human rights to the teams I have worked with and currently work with. Having a seat on the Human Rights Commission would allow me to continue to learn while also allowing me an opportunity to share the knowledge I have gained from my work and volunteer experience. I would like to end with a quote from Eleanor Roosevelt, one of the first members of the New York Junior League, which eventually became the foundation for the Association of Junior League International. Where, after all, do universal human rights begin? In small places, close to home, so close and so small that they cannot be seen on any maps of the world. Yet they are the world of the individual person, the neighborhood he lives in, the school or college he attends, the factory, farm, or office where he works. Such are the places where every man, woman, and child seeks equal justice, equal opportunity, equal dignity without discrimination. Thank you.
Thank you, Martha. Your time is concluded. Our next speaker this evening is John Bradley. Counselors, you'll notice that the speaker after that is listed as Christian Campos. Unfortunately, he withdrew over the weekend, so the next speaker after John will be Alaire Fajardo.
Good evening, City Council and Mayor Venice. My name is John Bradley, and I'm asking to serve on the Human Rights Commission. Thank you for inviting me to speak this evening. The goals of our Human Rights Commission are noble: to promote the universal human rights and values and principles in city programs and in our community. These are the same values and principles that I hold myself as a professional social worker. But more than that, it's important that we hold these values and implement them in our policies and in our law, and because it's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do to advocate for the inherent dignity and worth of the person. I'm an advocate for our protected classes and the most vulnerable among us. Since 2008, I've been a professional social worker with emphasis on our unhoused veterans and those who experience trauma. Since 2018, I've led and currently supervise social workers and other professionals in service to those in need. I'm also myself a veteran and a spouse and a father of 2 children in public schools here in Eugene. Eugene is a city that we have come to know as home, and we want our home to be safe for all people, welcoming and caring. Specifically, and like our city council, I'm encouraged when our Human Rights Commission advocates for evidence-based practices and policies that are not only well-intended, but offer effective means of achieving our goals. This requires attention not just to the planning and implementation, but to the essential follow-up study, program evaluation, and necessary course corrections. This also requires effort in working within systems and aligning with people, not against people. I offer the city of Eugene my time and concern for these shared values and principles and effective means of aligning our community to them. Thank you all.
Thank you, John. Our next speaker this evening is Alaire Fajardo, followed by William Parham.
Hi, my name is Alaire Fajardo. Thank you so much, Councilman and Mayor Venice. I truly believe I'm actually applying for the Human Rights Commission, and I believe my lived experience along with some of my professional and education will qualify me for this position. I was actually in foster care up until the age of 10 when I was adopted into Junction City, so the Lane County area. I struggled a lot as a teenager, and due to trauma and things that had happened, I went on the streets. I was unhoused. I was a teen mother, and it took a lot of people who believed in me and who saw me saw past the trauma that I had sustained that helped me to become the person I am today. So I was able to, after having our daughter at the age of 18, I was able to go on to get my bachelor's degree in psychology. And since then, I have worked on the school board for Junction City School District. I was able to use my lived experience to be able to help build an equity program out there. So I was one of the first people to help build that program for Junction City. We created an equity lens for the students and for the staff to be able to utilize while they're making important decisions for those students. Since I've also currently serve on the board for Every Child Lane County, and that's where I'm able to give back to the foster care community. So we help serve children who are currently in foster care. We support DHS and the resource families who are taking care of these children. So I'd really just love to be able to use my lived experience and the experience that I have had to be able to move forward and be on the Human Rights Commissions. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Alaire. Our next speaker is William Parham, followed by Tonya Valadez.
Good evening, City Council. Good evening, Mayor Venice. I stand here today as a proud police commissioner that is interested in putting their hat in the ring to serve the city of Eugene as a member of the Human Rights Commission. As a non-binary Black member of the community, I understand how vital and important human rights are for communities to be strong, vibrant, and diverse. What are human rights? According to UNICEF, human rights are standards that recognize and protect the dignity of all human beings. Human rights govern how individual human beings live in society and with each other, as well as their relationship with the state and obligations that the state have towards them. For the last 5 years, I've made it my life's work to fight for human rights and the collective liberation of all people. In Seattle, I was responsible for creating a nonprofit called AEO that worked by using informed trauma care to meet our clients where they were at, while striving to help those same clients retain their autonomy. In this work, I had a ground level view to the needs of human rights and how effective government and citizens can be when they come together to help make good on the promise of those rights. As an activist in Seattle, I was involved in projects that centered around mutual aid and improved humanity for some of the most marginalized groups living in the city. I'm a certified Healing Circle facilitator, and it is this work that has given me the ideal that healing is a human right. I also formerly worked with Whitebird in Eugene and have intimate knowledge of the challenges and hardships that face the humans in Eugene. As a police commissioner, I've made sure to make it my focus that the policy issues I raise and put on public record are issues that speak to the greater good of our community while being a voice of accountability for the humans of Eugene. As a human rights commissioner, it would be my goal and focus to aid the city of Eugene and its residents in how to access healing as a human right. I would do extensive work to welcome and make sure that the refugee and migrant communities felt safe and at home in Eugene. I I want to do the same work to make sure that the people of color who call Eugene can have those same feelings of safety and inclusion while partnering with longer standing members of the community for buy-in and input. Housing is a human right. It is a goal of mine to help the city of Eugene think of unique and creative ways to provide solutions to the current homelessness crisis in the city. Recovery is a human right, and it is a goal of mine to help think of unique and creative ways to address the addiction crisis that is gripping the city and to be able to help underfunded mechanism of addiction support in city government. Inclusivity is a human right, and all people deserve to feel welcome and included and equal in their access and treatment to city resources. It is a goal of mine to help promote a safe environment for all residents of Eugene to live out their humanity and have fulfilled, productive lives. Today, I stand in front of you, not as a child of Eugene, but as an adult of Eugene, who wants to give their greatest good to a city that I have adopted and decided to call home so that I can see its greatest good for all of its great, so great citizens.
Thank you, William. Your time is concluded.
Thank you.
Our next speaker this evening is Tanya Valadez, followed by John Fisher.
Hello, Mayor Venice and City Council members. Thank you so much for having me and giving me a chance at a wonderful opportunity. My name is Tanya Valadez. My pronouns are she, her. I identify as queer, disabled, Hispanic, biracial, and an activist. Some of my background and qualifications that I believe are relevant to this position are that I hold a master's degree in special education. I am disabled. I am on Social Security disability. I have been part of the LGBTQIA community in Eugene since 1996. I have extensive experience in writing curriculum, creating presentations, educating, teaching, instructing, and public speaking. I am a temp city rec employee. I started adaptive rec in 2018, and I worked until COVID hit in 2020. And then I just went back summer of 2023, so I've almost been back there a year. Feels great to be back. I'm also teaching, I'm a self-defense teacher, and I'm to girls, and I'm teaching self-defense out of the Amazon Community Center as a city employee. I have also worked for Women's Space when it was called Women's Space and HIV Alliance. I consider myself a violence prevention intervention specialist. There are several reasons why I chose to apply for a seat on the Human Rights Commission. First of all, I've been interested for many years, actually. I am very committed to the city of Eugene and the people here. I've been here since 1985. I went to high school here. I got both my degrees. I have a bachelor's and a master's at the U of O. I'm also very committed to human rights. I started, that started in women's studies classes in 94, I think. I have a minor in women's studies now. I've been trained by both CALC and Women's Space and anti-oppression. CALC when it was actually clergy and laity concerned before it became what it is now. I can strongly represent several communities. The first is the LGBTQIA community, a special ed inclusion community, and women and children and youth have always been my passion. What I would hope to accomplish in my time of service would be actions such as, first of all, learning. Second of all, maybe trauma-informed care for all city staff, increase and set a % of disabled city employees, create a safe.
Thank you, Tonya. Your time is concluded. Our next applicant statement this evening will be for Sustainability Commission, and that's John Fisher. After John Fisher will be Anthony Varanti.
Hi, John Fisher, and I'm applying for the Sustainability Commission. Lived here since 1985. I've been doing this work for a long time. I have a long list of things that have educated me. I'm a master recycler, master composter, master food preserver. I've taken a sustainable landscape course, a master gardener and pruner, and I took the climate master class that was initially offered here a few years ago. I do a little radio thing on KLCC about sustainable living, or living less unsustainably, as I call it. I write for the magazine, Eugene Magazine. I'm taking the Sustainable Citizen course. I work with Bring, and I have a good relationship with the folks at Blaine County Waste Management. The reasons I would like to do this are to collaborate and learn from some other people. I've done a lot of this on my own to some degree, and help learn what we can do to make the city less unsustainable, and then provide that information for council to make climate-informed decisions and rules and ordinances. The goals I have that are more specific are to kind of reinstitute, if it's possible, the Climate Masters program, where we used to go to people's homes and we would review either their landscape decisions or their transportation decisions or their home energy decisions, and we could make recommendations. I don't know why that program has fallen to the wayside, but it's not taking place anymore, but it seemed like a good sustainability thing. I'd like to see us reduce food waste somehow in Eugene, and more specifically in homes than in restaurants, and composting. And I'd like to see us do something educational just to get people to stop throwing away best if used by food and that sort of thing. And then the last thing I would like to really see get pressured more or come to fruition more would be have multifamily units have a better recycling and composting opportunities, because it tends to get all thrown away. The last thing I would mention is, if there's a large cadre of people who want to be on the Sustainability Commission, I think you should choose young people first, because there's a lot of old people doing this kind of work, and we need more young people in there. Okay, thanks for your consideration.
Thank you, John. Our next speaker is Anthony Baranti, and this is for the Toxics Board. After Anthony is David McNear, and he is our final speaker as Stephen Rockwood withdrew.
Venice and City Council. My name is Anthony Baranti, and I would like to be considered for the Toxics Board. I'm a member of the regulated community, yet I do not speak for my employer. Outside of a few years in the Naval Service and traveling, I'm a native Oregonian. I've lived in Eugene for the most of my life. One of my favorite pastimes as a child was to go fishing with my dad. And we used to go up to the McKenzie, and I asked him, why do we go up to the McKenzie? Why don't we just go to the Willamette River? It's closer. You see, my dad grew up before there was a Clean Water Act. Willamette River wasn't that great back then. His answer was simply, it's polluted. This led me to a path of getting a bachelor's in chemistry, a master's in business and sustainable business practices, and I'm now on 8 years of government regulations in the private sector. My first position in environmental regulations was gotten the same way most people get them, which is I was hired as a process engineer, and then I volunteered for it. And my life got complicated. The next day I was in charge of OSHA, RCRA, Community Right to Know, Clean Water Act, Clean Air Act, and a whole host of things that I had to learn by myself. Which leads me to one of my guiding principles, compliance through simplicity. Something that's really important to me is to have clear instructions and simplistic instructions for the regulated community so they can be compliant. Which leads me to the job that I have now, that I was fortunate to have when I was fortunate to get in January of 2020, which is a very interesting time to be learning new and different regulations. I think it's fair to say that the regulated community and the regulators were not prepared for COVID. We were not. We did our best. However, a goal of mine is to build resiliency in our systems for suboptimal circumstances. How do we maintain communication during our next crisis? How do we maintain our programs? Today, as a member of a regulated community and a citizen of Eugene, I know how important that a compliant, resilient, and simplistic community right to know program is. Thank you for your time, and it would be an honor to be on this Toxics Board.
Thank you, Anthony. Our next and final speaker is David McNear. David, go ahead when you're ready. David, can you hear us?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. Good afternoon, council and mayor. My name is David. I'm interested in volunteering my time to help keep the Toxic Right to Know program going. I felt concerned when I seen the advertisement and only one community member was on the board. I've personally experienced having to breathe toxic air or air with high particulate matter when I was in the military and exposed to toxic burn pits. I've advocated as a private citizen since then to protect and treat veterans with burn pit exposure. I do not have a lot of experience personally with Eugene, the city of Eugene's Toxic Right to Know program, but I think it's unique and important to keep going. After my time in the military, I got out and I went to school here in Oregon for conservation biology in the Fish and Wildlife program at Oregon State. I grew up here in Lane County. I've always paid my taxes in Oregon, even when I was in the military. I grew up in Eugene specifically. I'm familiar with the watershed and our natural resources here that could potentially be affected by industry. In the 70s, Eugene's area had a high concentration of particulate matter in the air, and it doesn't now. And I think having a right to know on the books keeps it that way. Part of my current job right now is to evaluate projects for compliance with federal rules on the Clean Air Act and Clean Water Act. I'm the Lane County Soil Conservation Technician for the Natural Resources Conservation Service. I'm a bit new to this job and I am young, but I'm passionate about conservation, and since getting out of the military, want to make that my wheelhouse. So I believe I could be a fair community-minded member and am willing to give up my time to maintain the Toxic Right to Know program for the sake of public benefit, because I think it helps influence community-minded thinking when the public has a right to be informed and transparency is made on what the industries in our city may be putting in our air and water. I will wrap it up there, but I appreciate the time to speak, and thank you.
Thank you, David. Mayor, that was our Counselor, that was our final speaker.
Thank you, city staff. I'd ask colleagues at this juncture, are there any questions from city council? Councilor Zelenka.
Yeah, there were numerous people that got the requisite number of votes to get an interview that aren't here today. Are we scheduling a second round sometime in the near future, so we afford them the opportunity to give their presentations?
Yes, Counselor. So we actually had 6 applicants withdraw. So of all the applicants that received the number of votes, these were all that were able to make today's meeting, and that were.
Okay, so everybody that got the requisite number of votes that's not on this list withdrew.
Yes.
Okay, so we don't need to do that then. Second question is related to the rule that we passed around being only on one commission. So if someone's on an existing commission and they apply for a new commission, how does that work? Are they off the one that they were on and now they're on the one that they got appointed to?
So we did have a number of applicants that applied that are on existing commissions, but their terms expire in June. And so in that case, if they are nominated or appointed to a new position, then they just transition into that position. If they are sitting on a current board or commission and their term is not expired, and they are appointed to a new term, they will have to resign from their current board and move to the new board or commission.
Okay, great. That's what I thought. Thank you.
Yes, of course.
Thank you, Councilor Zelenka. Any other questions? Not seeing any at this point. I will now close the April 8th, 2024 council work session, and we are adjourned.